Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 310 of the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox podcast. I'm immigration lawyer John Pesravi. This one's going to be a little shorter. It's from last December. It's an interview I did with a colleague, Seth Finberg, who's in Florida, and at times a hurricane going on there. And particularly, we wanted to talk about what we know as the NIW for airline pilots, because he has a background, his family in aviation, and he's handled clients that are pilots. And we kind of get into it. It cuts out a lot, so I apologize for that. But it should be an interesting episode. After I did this, I went and studied the AO decision, the airline pilots. I took all these notes, but I'm so slammed with work, I haven't had time to release it. We have a lot of content. So if you support the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox, do it any way you can by, telling people about it, downloading stuff, listen to podcasts. Because I really need to develop a team. Got so much, frankly, free content I want to give out about all the studies I do on immigration law. I just don't have the time. I do like 80% of it, but I don't have to clean up because I can't just put on information that's not clean. I got to tie it up and have people double check it, send it out. But there's massive amounts of content I want to get out. I really need to develop this. And speaking of that, here are the two ways to tell your friends about right now. We got other systems, but I'm taking step by step. We have a marriage green card course. It's special. It's what I wanted when I started. The relationships, the tips, the breakdown of studying the laws and everything. If you're interested in marriage green card course to be a great immigration lawyer, there's only one place to go for that. That's Immigration Lawyers Toolbox. Hit me up at info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com. And thank you for our wonderful sponsor, Serenade. We've been working with them for quite some time now. Wonderful company, wonderful leadership, family leadership. I really enjoy, getting to know the owners of the company and the leaders of it. But Serenade is a technology company that's been around for almost 30 years. They're modern immigration practice management software focused on legal professionals to manage their cases, clients, forms, billing, and much more. It's really getting into all in one system that they have there. The software is really good. Highly rated by many immigration lawyers. Capterra, who keeps track of the stuff, gave a bunch of awards for most likely to recommend, the best support, etc. It's worth mentioning, you got 100 plus features that can save you time, especially e-filing, which is one of the only ones that do all of them that are available. It's very, very high-end software that they have. I recommend doing a demo. Visit Serenade's website, that's Serenade with a C. Call 1-800-617-4202 or email them at sales@serenade.com. Serenade Immigration, the S, the first sound of it is the S, not a C. It's a Serenade with a C. I'm sorry, I'm switching up. But Serenade with a C, I knew that. Check it out. All the information that's come out right now is not intended for individual legal guidance. Talk with an immigration lawyer, but y'all knew that already. Hope you enjoyed. Seth, thank you so much, Seth Finberg, coming on the show in the middle of what seems to be a hurricane over there in Florida. What part? Thanks for coming on the show. What part of Florida are you at?
I'm in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, so just north of Miami.
Oh, okay.
Southeast Florida.
Is it like if you live in Florida, is this like Tuesday or something? Because it seems like you guys get these storms all the time.
Yeah, we do. I mean, this has been a particularly rainy summer. I'd say almost every single day we've had major storms, usually in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And
but it's scared of it after a while, or is it just like a normal thing?
This is normal. I mean, it's not really fun when you drive in it if it's really heavy, the rain, but just, it's nothing too bad. When the wind's not too bad, and there's lightning and thunder, but yeah, we're used to it.
It's August 17th. We're recording this. Los Angeles is going to have like a tropical storm for the first time in like 100 years or something.
Oh my gosh.
So we're going to see what kind of thing because we're not built for the winds and the rain. So it's flooding and accidents and all sorts of crazy stuff that happens because the infrastructure is not built for it. Thanks for coming on the show, fellow immigration attorney. You have an interesting background in association with Dad was a pilot and stuff. So you've done some cases on that, which I want to talk about. But let's just start. How did you get into immigration law? Where are you from and how did you get into it?
Okay, well, I'm from down here, from South Florida. Got into it, I guess, a combination of factors. I started off more as a criminal defense attorney, actually up in Georgia, where I went to law school. And I started seeing just more and more of my clients have immigration difficulties, challenges. A lot of them were immigrants themselves, some undocumented, in fact, many undocumented. I did a lot of public defense work up there too, indigent defense, public defense. So you just started to see a lot of overlap. And I kind of saw that a need to be able to work in both areas. And the second major reason is I also coached a lot of soccer and high school football. And so a lot of my players were immigrants. Certainly their parents were, especially in soccer. And I started seeing, players that I had have their fathers deported, have their brothers deported, have, lots of things going on in their lives. So just really made me think about it more than I did before.
Well, just jump my head. You're in Florida. It's been a couple months into it now. How's the new immigration rules been? How's that just life under that, the phone calls and things you've been seeing?
Good question. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's obviously a need for more compliance and more just taking a closer look at how companies, have employees. We have a lot of, in this part of the country, we have a lot of businesses that I'm sure hire people that don't have documentation at all.
Yeah.
Whether that's in the food service industry, landscaping, construction, things like that. And they're having labor shortages for sure now that they're actually cracking down on this more than they used to. People are not showing up for work, or there are companies just struggling, especially in the hotel, restaurant, hospitality field, just to get people.
Interesting stuff. So, you said it, you're coaching people who are like getting hit by this stuff, and you're seeing people right in front of your eyes get hit. So that got you into immigration, and what kind of stuff do you focus on now in your practice?
Well, now, my practice is more on the employment side, specifically in aviation. So my father was a pilot, and I've always grown up around aviation, planes, aircraft. It just was always something that we talked about. We loved going, watching the planes, meeting pilots.
Yeah.
Either on the military side or on the civil commercial side. And so I've just been pivoting more and more to that area of law. And right now, most of my practice is focused on representing, experienced, outstanding foreign airline pilots. And
so does this go into the O1, EB1, NIW realm?
Yeah, not too much O1. It's really hard to prove that a pilot has extraordinary ability. That's really a challenge. You'd have to find a very rare person for that. But an EB2 NIW, that's the most common way for sure. Other types of visas as well.
The NIW for pilots has been a topic of much conversation and confusion and stuff. Could you fill us in on the successes you had and like what type of cases there are that you would accept, or what background you see? Just fill us in on how that all works.
Sure. Well, yeah, it's getting harder now than it used to be, especially this year, this summer, this spring. We're starting to see more and more requests for evidence and higher denial rates than before. So I guess we have to be a little bit stricter on who we take. But the labor shortage alone is just not enough for the USCIS to grant a national interest waiver. But we've known that for a while. But even so, the cases that seem to be approved, the pilots have to have a lot more special skills in terms of training and safety. Those are really two areas that I like to look for. Additional responsibilities, not just hours, not just experience.
So like with training is like how many hours they've trained or how much they've trained other people?
It's other people. Yeah. You do get lucky. You hear cases where like someone is just a first officer with a relatively limited amount of hours. See, pilots, they measure their experience not in years, but in hours. So on average, you probably look at about 1,000 hours to mean something near a year's experience. So normally a pilot with about 10,000 hours probably has flown at least 10 full-time years, probably a little bit more than that. And you generally want to see more experience compared to less. But it also depends what the pilot has done and yet how he or she can impact the United States going forward.
So, and when it comes to safety, what does that entail? If you said like it's like training and safety, what is the safety aspect? How do you review that for a potential
Well,
client?
if they have a background, with their airline, they have additional training in safety. They work with their airline or their previous airlines on safety measures. Ways to make the airline safer, ways to make the industry safer. And most pilots don't have this background. And most pilots don't have these additional responsibilities. But the ones who do, I just think are stronger cases for sure.
Very interesting, because we have seen an uptick of pilots contacting us about this stuff. And I reviewed the resume, and I wasn't aware of how many hours is equivalent to years, but they would have like 5,000, 8,000. And they kind of want to bring him here because of the boom in private jet travel. They want to have these kind of people. But I was like, maybe we could do a perm kind of thing over the long term, EB3 or EB2, probably EB2, but not an NIW version of it. But I'm keen on doing it, even testing it out, telling the client, okay, these are the risks involved. But if it works, it's a wonderful category to do.
Yeah, perm is, as you know, is dependent on the employer. So really, it's tough to find airlines, whether they're large or small, that want to actually go ahead
Yeah,
and sponsor a pilot. And that's two reasons why they're going to sponsor a pilot, knowing it they might not get that pilot for 2 years. Most of the time,
yeah,
the
it doesn't
pilot's
make
not in the United States; they're flying, let's say, in Europe or Asia somewhere. And you file, you got to wait for the whole perm to go through. Then you've got to go through the EB2 or the EB3 process. And so, are they willing to spend the money? Are they willing to wait?
yeah.
Perm, there's issues with perm. There's long delays. There's uncertainty. So there's just a lot of factors why airlines just don't want to do it. If that
It's kind
makes
of
sense.
coincidence. We're having this discussion today. I just had a random conversation with a colleague today where a group of pilots from one particular nation that has an E2 treaty with the United States had contacted the attorney, and we're brainstorming. I was like, you know what? Maybe like if they create a company in the United States, becomes a petitioner for an E2 visa. I haven't done this aspect before, but I've heard people starting business in the United States and bring key employees or something like that. There's even a controversial one where this one bakery in Los Angeles opened up somewhere Southeast Asia had the E2 treaty, and they would just ship here and pretty much have the people go clean their house and wash their car and do a lawn. Abuse was happening, but they're bringing in like dozens and dozens of people like this. So I'm like, maybe like you make a airline here that outsources out, so they hire the people that work here, but then they outsource out to different planes. This is sort of like H-1B, where the majority of H-1Bs go to these Indian engineers who there's 3 or 4 companies that en masse suck up all the H-1Bs, and then they do on-site employment for as independent contracts for other companies and stuff. Being contracted, they hire the company, the H-1B petitioning company, and then the people would just send their employees to work on site. It's like, well, would that work for pilots? I'm not enough of an E2 expert for that aspect, but that'd be something interesting if you get a bulk number of pilots and they want to put their money together as an investment.
It could. I mean, in E2, yeah. I mean, there's at first I thought you were talking about the E3 visa for Australians, because that there are Australian pilots do have an easier time getting in a similar visa to an H-1B. But I'll give you the downside of that. First of all, is a lot of these pilots would have to give up a good job flying somewhere else in the world to move to the United States for just a short-term visa.
Yeah,
Are they willing to give that up? Because the way the aviation industry works, it's all based on seniority. So if you work for an airline for 10 years, your salary is going to become higher and higher every year. Then if you come to
yeah.
the US and start at a new airline, you're going to be at the bottom of the pay scale and have to build yourself back up. So for them to be willing to do that, they'd either, in my opinion, have to be quite young and inexperienced, because they're more willing to, start over again. Or they just really want to come to the United States because whatever
Yeah.
aviation market they're working in, they just don't like anymore.
But there's some flexibility too, because if they're married, their spouse could get a work permit. So it's like there's want to make that decision. So because the spouse gets a work permit, they have kids they want to grow up here, raise here. I was watching this one TikTok, and they were saying like a lot of pilots don't want to become first officers because I'm not sure if they call it the second officer, but the seniority happens there. If you go first officer, then you go to the bottom of that one. So that doesn't make sense necessarily to do that. That creates all sorts of issues with this whole seniority system that they have.
Yeah, because you'd have to start over.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just saying that you have to start over as a first officer, right? Which is like a co-pilot,
exactly.
essentially.
You get all the bad times and like all that, like, the low of the wrong, even though you're a first officer. But the whole situation with pilots is so interesting because it comes up. There's some firms who just any pilot comes in and says, we'll apply for you. And they keep doing it. So I'm like, it's probably working or something. I don't know. Like, I always wonder, am I missing out or not? I was actually going to go. I read one AEO decision where it was denied, saying like, yeah, we need more. This was like a year or two ago. It's more actually after this call. I'm gonna go on the AEO decisions, non-precedent decisions, and see if there are any new NIW pilot cases that were appealed, to see if there's any language that changes or the AEO approved it. I use that as a lot of inspiration to see what's possible from those denial decision and appeals. But I'm glad we got to talk about it. It gives you a more like realistic understanding of how this case looks and about the field itself. So which direction is you're growing your caseload on pilots in that community? Any other direction you're taking your firm on these kind of cases or any other types of cases?
Yeah, I mean, I still take, other types of immigration cases. I guess I do focus probably a lot like what you do. I do the extraordinary exceptional ability cases. So I do EB1s, O1s, EB2 NIWs, in other areas. That's really the base of my practice. I will do the occasional E2 visa. And yeah, as you brought up, there always are the possibilities of creating an aviation related investment, an E2 or E1 business. The ability to bring in, multiple pilots might be a little tricky, but I could certainly see like a business, a small charter airline that wanted to hire one or maybe two pilots. That's probably more believable than a large number of them.
But it's a difficult thing because the country does need it. They may have to do the whole, getting politicians to do it is going to be hard, but the situation where you have for nurses where they don't have to undergo like for permits easier, having that for pilots as well. I think they have it for like physical therapists or something like that too. I don't know, my video keeps cracking out. I'm here, but
it does a little bit.
But thank you so much for coming on the show.
That I have, I don't know.
No, it's just that internet's being bad all around today, but hopefully audio is good. The camera seems to have lost it, so I think audio is still working. Thank you so much for coming on the show. If someone wanted to reach out to you and get to just talk with you or something like that, what's the best way for them to do that?
Okay, yeah, they can either just check out our website, at finbergfirm.com, FINBERG, You can write me, Seth, at finbergfirm.com, or just info@finbergfirm.com. That's the best way. Or you can call our phone number at area code 305-707-8787. That's 305-707-8787, like the airplanes.
Did you intentionally choose that one? Or was it a coincidence?
I did, yeah. Well, kind of both, but once I saw that it was available, I went for it.
Yeah, why not? By the way, it seems to be Florida was like before DeSantis, this kind of stuff. But I see so many firms expanding in Florida. A lot of people open up operations over there. Is Florida like the boom town for immigration? Is that how it seems? Like you get the feeling that's it.
I'm from here, so it's different. I've seen it grow over the years with many booms, ups and downs. But yeah, we're kind of a gateway city, especially to Latin America. Miami is just right there. All the trade, air and we've got ships, we've got aviation, we've got just commerce. Definitely, I do think it's booming. But again, everything goes in cycles. Who knows? The cost of living is going to get higher and higher. But eventually, people may actually start moving away, just like in California. Just unaffordable at times, but with immigration, people seem to always want to come down here.
Yeah, that seems like there's always something going on immigration, even in bus cycles, because Florida's notorious for having a real estate boom bust cycle for 100 years, more than 150 years now. But I see so many law firms opening up there, so many immigrants through there, and like really high-end EB cases going over there. I'm like, I might need to make my own office over there, see what's going on. So I might be hitting you up and come over visit you.
You try. It's fierce competition, but we welcome it. For sure.
Yeah, it does happen. Yeah, but it seems like there's a lot of business to go around. I really appreciate you coming on the show and talking about your office.
Oh, no problem. Thanks a lot, John. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Seth.
Have you ever felt that the road to establishing a successful immigration law firm is riddled with unexpected obstacles and setbacks? I've been there, and I'm here to tell you, you are not alone. Picture this. My wife, then girlfriend, and I had just landed for a vacation, only to be greeted by a voicemail that changed everything. In an instant, once the plane landed, she lost her job. The very one job that was supposed to support us while I launched my own solo immigration law firm. Suddenly, our financial cushion vanished, and I was thrust into the high-stakes world of entrepreneurship with no safety net. Despite a slow start and a discouraging lack of leads and referrals, I remained determined to build a law firm that provided a 5-star client experience. After countless hours spent researching, watching, and implementing marketing strategies with mixed results, I eventually began to see my firm's revenues not only surpass my previous revenue and salary as an associate, but double it. Today, I run a successful law firm with a team of associates and support staff, and I'm the proud founder of the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox magazine, podcasts, courses, workshops, and more. But my journey wasn't easy. I made many mistakes, wasted time and money, and wished I had a mentor to guide me through the challenges. Although I was fortunate enough to find a few peers who offered support, I couldn't shake the feeling that there had to be a better way. That's why I decided to be the change I'd wish I'd seen. This month, I'm thrilled to announce the launch of the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox private mentorship and peer group. This exclusive group is designed to bring solo and small firm practitioners in a monthly, private, and intimate setting to openly discuss business strategies, share successes, even exchange invaluable tactics that they wouldn't share anywhere else. By joining this premium group, you'll not only benefit from my hard-earned expertise, but also forging long-lasting relationships with like-minded professionals who are committed to elevating their practices. Space is limited for this game-changing opportunity. If you're ready to make a real lasting impact on your business, simply email me at info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com. Again, that's info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com. And I'll send you all the information you need to get started. Don't miss this chance to transform your immigration law firm and reach new heights of success.